Spirit of Marilynn, I ask for your presence. Commune with me, Marilynn, and move. Spirit of Marilynn, we ask for your presence. Commune with us, Marilynn, and move among us. Spirit of Marilynn, we ask for your presence. Commune with us, Marilynn, and move among us. Spirit of Marilynn, we ask for your presence. Commune with us, Marilynn, and move among us. Spirit of Marilynn, we ask for your presence. Commune with us, Marilynn, and move among us. Spirit of Marilynn, we ask for your presence. Commune with us, Marilynn, and move among us. Spirit of Marilynn, we ask for your presence. Commune with us, Marilynn, and move among us. Blessed be to Marilynn. Before us we have two decks of cards. We have the main deck, the deck of Konxari cards. Konxar is the Egyptian for speaking to the dead, or communicating with the dead. The second deck is a deck of mediumship cards, and on this deck of mediumship cards there are just messages, pre-written messages on there, and then as we shuffled them, Marilynn will have no doubt helped place whatever message she wants to put over. She will have helped to place that message in place as we shuffled. She would help the cards be placed in that particular order that she wants. This is your time, Marilynn. This is for you. And as you are present now, we have to just say that, explain the Konxari cards have pictures, words, various symbols and letters and numbers. In a way, it's like Ouija board, but when we use Konxari, we put the Ouija board away. So with that, no further ado, we're going to deal out 12 cards, 12 Konxari cards, and we're going to deal them out in like a little diagram, like this. We'll explain in just a moment what happens. We do like a cross, and then we'll just put those two together because there's not much room, as you'd say, to spread them out just on the reverse of the spirit board at the moment that we're using. We'll just then deal out 8 more around the side, like so. Don't worry about neatness just at the moment, it's just that we're just dealing them out. We can just neaten them up in a moment because there's just something we've got to do first before we do that. Just hold the deck here. What we now have to do in acknowledgement of Spirit, acknowledgement of Marilynn, we have to do something very special now, and that something very special is that we have to make sure that when we deal out all the cards in the order that they were dealt, as we deal them out, we have to make sure that we do not deal out this card, this card, this card and this card. That's the north, south, east and west to the ordinary way of thinking. Now the reason we do this is a bit unknown, but all we know is we do it out of respect for Spirit. In this case we do it out of respect for Marilynn. So to be on the safe side, so as we don't return them or see them by accident, we remove them from the spread like this, and then that way we don't have to worry about accidentally seeing them later on, do we? If you understand the meaning, you don't have to worry about that later on. So what we do is just place the 4 underneath, and then we don't see them. We're not allowed, we should never see those cards. So what I'm going to now do is just so it's in view, so that you know there's no any funny business or any messing about. We'll just place the deck just on the corner there. You can just about see that, I think, but just so you can see it. And then we'll just now arrange this layout so we've got a bit more, so it's a bit more presentable. We've got to do that for Marilynn, haven't we? And then it means we can now just pull these 2 cards out there, and as you can see, it forms like a cross in the middle, and not so much have to worry too much about. Just make sure that everything is neat and tidy for Marilynn. Probably she was a bit fussy about neat and tidiness. Most ladies are, aren't they? Let's just see what's going on there. Right, so now Marilynn is present with us. We've neatened everything up for you, Marilynn, so you can now speak through these cards. You can commune with us and give us your message. Now, what type of message would Marilynn be giving? Well, each card would, as we know, as words on, as photographs and different symbols and letters and numbers. And at the end of this setting, we can lay out the cards in a row with the letters and the numbers to see if there's a hidden message, if there's some kind of anagram. It's a bit like an anagram game, isn't it? And we can do that at the end, just maybe for a bit of fun as well. Maybe of course there'll be a serious side to it, and maybe Marilynn will be able to just pass one final message. Maybe there may be an initial in there, or initials, or the initials of a place name, person's name, or some other message that you might see. This is here now. For us. So what we do now, we have to bear in mind which order the cards were dealt. Of course, there are 4 missing. So the first card, of course, there is the one just here in the middle. So we'll take that one and we'll just travel to that. We'll just rotate that card and we'll just see what that card is. past. And it's got the yin and yang symbol, it's got the letter Y on it. The past. And I'll show you the card because it probably might not be very clear to you at the moment. You probably can't see it very well, but I'll just show you that card there, just so you can see that. And that's the past. And it, straight away we can place this card just here where it was dealt, and we can sort of look at this and straight away see that yes, the connection with the past, of course. Maybe the past was very important to Marilyn, wasn't it, Marilyn? It was very important to you. Although, of course, looking at it, you can see that it's like a bit of a landscape. Maybe she liked to remember that. Well, I'm thinking of that, I don't know, but maybe she liked going for a walk or whatever, and in the sort of past. It's just struck midnight. I just don't know if you heard the clock. So we just caught it just beforehand. So we've got midnight well underway now, and the hourglass is there just to show us that this is her time. This is for you, Marilyn. This is your time. We're giving you our time, and we hope that you can give us yours. And straight away, of course, we see the past. We see the fact that the past was important. Why am I looking at that fence or that gate or something, as if maybe there were certain things denied her or something like that, like as if it's like a blockage or something like that. Maybe there was something in the past that was denied or blocked, like a blockage. Certain things she couldn't do, and maybe that might have frustrated her. I don't know. What we're going to now do is we're going to pull out another card now, and we're going to pull out this card, because this is the second card, wasn't it, that was dealt, so we'll just rotate that card to see what that is. And as you can see now, we've got a cryptic. Isn't that strange how I said that just that there may have been a sort of other meaning to that picture there, and that came up, although not as harsh as I didn't think. Got the symbol of the sun and the letter E. So just take a look at that. That's the cryptic, and that card we just place that there where it was dealt, and of course, so straight away cryptic, something cryptic. Then you could really, in a way, if you were just going through this as it happens. Or as it happens, as you would say, you could somehow assume or work out that Marilyn is probably saying there's something cryptic about the past. There was something maybe mysterious about it. Something in the past that either she didn't understand or you didn't understand about it. Maybe. And it seems as though there is a mystery about the past. Yes, various questions I know have been raised about certain things, but if Marilyn has anything to say about whatever it is, then it'll come up in these cards, and she can speak to us through these cards about that. And of course there may be a message here as well to the rest of the family, so she can pass on an actual message of some kind. But before we just go for the actual messages, we do this Konxari, and Konxari, as we've established, is the Egyptian for talking to the dead, as you know. But it is a bit like, think of how tarot and oracle cards are tools, divination tools for doing readings for us. If you want a tarot reading, you'll shuffle the cards and deal them out, or somebody on your behalf will shuffle them out and then deal them, and then you'll have a reading of the past, present and future, or according to however it's dealt. And that is known as a reading for you, isn't it? Well, Konxari, because it's talking to the dad, because it's communicating with the other side, this is really a reading for them. In this case, we're doing a reading for Marilynn, aren't we? This is Marilynn's reading, isn't it? And so don't let's think of it really as a reading for us. This is a reading for her. And this is what's being said about maybe her past, present, future, what's going on. She's sending a message through this way, and that's what's going on. So straight away, just by the first two cards, the past was important, but there was something cryptic going on, either then or now. There's something cryptic connected to the past that's going on now. There you've got the card cryptic and the past up there. Now what we'll do, we'll deal out some more cards, and then a bit later on we can somehow try and blend the meanings and see what else pops up. So we'll just rotate that card there, and you can see shadow with an arrow pointing that way to the left, and a number 6. I'll just show you that one, and then you can just see that there. Is it rotated right? There you are. Shadow. And notice it's like a hand in the window or something like that, isn't it? So we'll just place that the way it was, the position it was dealt with, or dealt in. And notice straight away, as you can see, an arrow is pointing this way, isn't it? Pointing to your left, toward me, or down. It's as if it's pointing to this card, as if the shadow might have something significant to whatever card is here. But for now we'll leave that card, and we'll just concentrate that maybe the shadow may be a symbolic thing. It may be like some form of symbolism, like a symbolic meaning, as in shadow, in a metaphoric sort of way. Well, we don't know that, but yeah, we don't know that for sure. But well, I could assume that because I'm trying to be realistic as well, and I'm sure that Marilynn would like me to be. And maybe the shadow is that. It could be. It could very well be that, although that which is cryptic and mysterious to do with the past exists in the shadows, doesn't it? Of space and time. Maybe Marilynn is literally saying it's a shadow. Maybe you see a sort of a form of shadow person. You see Marilynn walk past and you feel a shadow, or see a shadow, and you feel her presence. Maybe. But it's all, I think, really, that this is something to do with a situation or something in the shadows, in the sort of the mysterious sort of way, and I get that sort of impression from it. Of course, by you looking at them, you might see what I just saw there. Literally a shadow. Maybe you've experienced her presence as a shadow as well. Maybe you have, and that's fair enough. That's okay to do that, because that means that you're taking part in this setting, and it means that we're working out what Marilynn is trying to say. You know Marilynn more than me, and this is what it's about. I'm going to now reveal the next card straight away. We're just going to move to that one just for now, because I'm focusing on the arrows. Anytime there's an arrow in these readings, I tend to be a lot of transfixed and locked onto them. I don't know why. It's just something that I do. It's just me. Accident. The word accident. and the moon, and the letter T. I don't know if you can just see that there. I'll just show you that one. As you can see, we placed the deck at the other end, so you can see it, and it's nice and safe there. So there's the word accident. So straight away we can see that maybe an accident in the shadows where nobody could see and never found out later on, or something cryptic, mysterious. Maybe if it is based upon what you think it is, maybe when questions are asked, everybody's working in the shadows, everybody's mysterious, and the answer that's given is an answer that's not quite clear, but it's just enough an answer just to say, get off me back. Maybe that's what it is. Remember that we shuffled the cards and we asked for Marilyn's presence. So Marilyn, you're there now. I know that you're there, and I know that you're speaking to us now through this, and this is your time to have your say, if it is your say, or whatever you wish to pass over, hand over your love or whatever, you do it. But she seems to be saying an accident. She seems to be saying there was an accident, she experienced an accident, or she's affected by an accident. Of course, accidents are deliberate. Accidents are, let's be accidental, and an incident is deliberate, isn't it? So you have to bear in mind the difference between an accident or an incident. Maybe she's pointing to an accident that she had in the past, and it's nothing to do with the cause of her passing. It might just simply be that she was affected by an accident in the past, and there was a lot of mystery surrounding it. But this accident in the past, wherever in the past it was, there's a mystery attached to it, something cryptic about it. Anytime you seek answers, you're getting, I don't know about lies, but certainly you're getting mysterious answers that may not add up even, or things are in like a sort of code that just to make sure. For example, if it was a medical thing, for example, they'd talk in Latin or something like that to confuse you, just because doctors and that understand Latin and do everything in Latin, don't they? That's my stereotype of them. And their handwriting's always terrible, isn't it? Have you ever noticed that when they write out a prescription? Doctor's handwriting is terrible, and they always make the worst patients when they end up in hospital as well. I noticed that when I was in some years ago. But forget enough about me and more about Marilyn, who's here. I'm sure Marilyn will have a bit of a smile there, won't you, Marilyn? That sort of thing, I'm sure we all know. So just to establish now with the 4 cards in the middle, as you can see that Marilyn has been affected by the past, and of course it was something cryptic, it was something mysterious attached to it, lots of things going on. Of course there's a shadow. Is that the fact that this was in the shadows, this thing in the past was in the shadows, maybe? Or is it in the literal sense that Marilyn, you see her in the shadows as a shadow person, maybe, trying to pass a message, at the hand in the window? Sometimes there was a story about somebody went to a waterfall and they saw like phantom ghostly hands coming out of the waterfall, and they kept seeing it every time they went. So somebody decided to go behind the waterfall, and they found the skeleton of somebody who'd perished there, and it was as if that they were giving a sign that I am here, please give me a decent burial, or whatever the message was. So maybe this is what could be happening in the shadow there, in the literal sense of the physical, that she communicates in the shadow that way. Of course, if it's a metaphorical shadow, I'm a bit confused about that, because I suppose it's a shadow, isn't it? But maybe in a metaphorical sense, the cryptic and mysterious thing about the past casts a shadow upon the present, and it's to do with an accident. It's to do with something that happened. It was an accident, and it casts a shadow. An accident of the past. Notice how the past and the accident card are two together there. An accident in the past casts a shadow, and there is cryptic and mysterious energy attached to it. This is how we could read it if we were trying to figure something out. But of course, if you've seen her in the shadow, maybe her shadow is a bit like that story of the waterfall, in the sense that she's there in the shadow trying to remind you that something has been left undone or something. It's one thing to suspect and it's one thing to assume. One must not assume, of course, because it leads on to accusations, and if those accusations are untrue, then it's a bit of a touchy area. But nevertheless, the Konxari speak from spirit, and we take it, we leave it. But this is Marilynn's time. We've asked for her presence, and she's here now, aren't you, Marilynn, to have your say. So let her speak, and what we do on this side, on this plane, is up to us at a later date. We now just pull out this next card. And this next card, we just rotate it, as you see. We just rotate it slowly like that, just to see what its energy is. And you've got auditory, the colour yellow and the letter H. Let's just show you that. I'll just because you might not be able to see it when it's laid out there, you see. So, auditory. Yes, I got a funny feeling as though if you do see Marilynn in the shadows, from the physical point of view, you will hear it if you hear a bump. Sometimes people say bump in the night, don't they? But of course that could refer to just things expanding and contracting. They always say a silent house is a dead one, don't they, or whatever. Sometimes, I don't know if Marilynn might have said that one. That might have been a saying that she had as well, or something similar. But it seems as though, with it being next to the accident, auditory, a sound was made or something was heard. She made a sound. With it being auditory, with it being sound, maybe she cried out, or maybe they heard a fall, or God forbid she threw anything at anybody, but maybe there was something that created a sound. It's linked to the accident. I got a feeling it is linked to the accident, that it's a noise or something that was heard. You could assume and go a bit deeper and sort of, well, not deeper, but certainly just go off the beaten track a bit and say people said things and certain noises were made that were heard about it. But that would be a more vocal thing, wouldn't it? This is more hearing in the sense of sound. Maybe her hearing was bad. Maybe although auditory, maybe when sounds are there she couldn't hear very well. I don't know. It's easy to say an elderly lady had bad ears because that's an easy thing to assume, isn't it? So we won't go there, we won't go there as such. But I'm still going with the first. I'll go with the very first thing that I was thinking, in the sense of a sound was made in some way. She cried out, or she was always saying things, or other people were saying things. And Marilynn is saying, yes, I was heard. I was heard. I heard auditory. Why am I thinking that Marilynn is saying I heard things? I don't know why I'm thinking that. I don't know. It's I heard things in the sense of auditory. I heard, as if it's Marilynn doing the hearing, Marilynn doing the listening, as you would say, and she heard things. She heard things maybe about the accident, or she heard things, the cryptic things about the past. I heard things and didn't understand it. I heard things in the past. Look at the past, and how that's linked to, sort of like next to then, the hearings. If I heard things in the past, but now it's mysterious, it's cryptic. Of course, where I am now, of course, where Marilynn is now, she'll know now, of course. That's why she can pass the message on. But I heard things in the past that were mysterious, were cryptic, had hidden meanings behind them, and it was to do with the accident now. Notice how all them three are sort of linked to, or four, isn't it? 1, 2, 3, 4. There's down 4, but it was kept in the shadows. 5. It was kept in the shadows. I still think that shadow is metaphorical, though it could be the fact that, yes, I'm in the shadows, a bit like the waterfall story. Earlier on about the hands coming out of the waterfall and somebody was found deceased behind there. It could be that, but I just feel as if people were kept in the shadows about the accident. Things weren't clear, metaphorically, as you would say. It was sometime in the past, but I heard everything that was said, as if she's saying, you weren't told. You were told things cryptic, you were told mysterious things, but I heard the truth. I heard the not just the lies, but the excuses maybe, or the cryptic meanings to things that were sort of put there to try and not cover up, but just to try and not be too clear in case it made itself obvious. I'm now going to pull out another card, because these other 3 cards that we haven't pulled out yet may shed light on it further. Let's just now rotate this card slowly and see what its energy is. Always, just the sky with a bird there, the symbol of infinity to the left, and the letter I. Always. Seen that there, so we just place that now in position there, and that's back where it came from, so it's in there. And straight away we get in this sort of feel as though, yes, okay, the accident is always in the past. Maybe the cryptic messages from it are always there. I guess I was saying I always heard it, but certainly that which is auditory, that which could be heard, I heard, Marilynn heard it. Of course, I heard about it, maybe, but I heard it. I heard either things being said, or I heard the sound of somebody falling, or somebody, something happening. I heard that accident. Now I might not have. It's not saying I saw it. I assume, for example, somebody was pushed over behind in another room, and they cried out, and Marilyn heard that. She's saying, I heard it. I'm not saying it's that, I'm just saying for example. It might be that because I'm thinking of it, I don't know. But because I'm thinking about it doesn't mean it happened. It's just I'm using that as an example, and if that example is something that's coming to mind because Marilyn is putting it in my mind, I don't know. But I'm just getting this, it's the sort of thing that I either heard something from behind the door or heard something in the shadows at the window, not so much at the window, but certainly I heard something. It was an accident, I heard it. They cried out, but things were cryptic in the past, and things were cryptic, a bit mysterious there, and it was kept hush-hush, and it's always been that way. Always been that way, kept in the shadows. Alternatively, it could say, if this accident happened to me, she could be saying that it's an accident that happened to her, and she heard things being said about it, and she's saying they're telling you cryptic things, they're telling you mysterious things, in the sense that they're deliberately not being clear, they're keeping it in the shadows from you. Now there's two, if we go back as again where I've got the hand in the shadow there, as if it's the waterfall effect, or not waterfall effect, but the waterfall story side of it. Then if she's passing a message on to say, look, this is what happened to me, then it's quite clearly that she is the one who experienced the accident. A sound was made, she cried for help, or she heard things that were said about it afterwards, and it wasn't made clear to you either way. But either way, whatever's going on, it's always been in the shadows, it's always been kept mysterious. Maybe so people don't get prosecuted, or so people don't lose their job, or because it was a personal thing and people had responsibilities. Maybe if it's the argument that you're trying to put, then maybe she's saying that they were deliberately keeping it in the shadows and not being clear to protect the careers, because they have bills to pay, they have children and spouses to look after, and things like, and other dependents no doubt down the way. So it wasn't in their best of interest to be too clear about it, because if they lost the job they'd be out on the heels and that'd be it. But Marilyn is saying she heard, or auditory in the sense she heard. I first thought, so when I thought, after going back to it, she heard something, and she heard it or whatever, I somehow went back, I sort of diverted and said that it was a hearing because she was a little old lady, and little old ladies have bad hearing. That could be true. But with it being auditory in the sense of hearing, listening, it seems as though Marilyn is saying, I listened, I heard, and although the accident either happened to me or it happened next door and I heard somebody fall or was pushed and they said they fell, and they've kept it in the dark, in the shadows, and any time there's questions asked they always make sure they pick the more economic sort of argument, and it's always been that way. It could be that one, or something similar to that. But of course, if there's that sort of thing going on somewhere, say the care home as you mentioned or whatever, then it could be easily assuming that Marilyn is saying an accident happened to me, and I hear what they are saying, and I hear now what they are saying to you that's cryptic. I'm telling you it's cryptic and mysterious, and they're keeping it in the shadows. They're always doing it, and it's about the past, something that happened to me in the past, and I hear them, and I heard it then. I heard what they said. They might have thought that I was non-compos mentis. They might have thought that. But of course, with a lot of cases with even dementia, Alzheimer's, you know it isn't actually cracking up and going mental. The main issue with Alzheimer's is the inability to articulate oneself. If you talk to somebody with Alzheimer's, they do understand you. It's just that they have an ability to articulate themselves to you. Now, I didn't know this, but in a lot of cases that is the case. So, yes, I heard. The accident happened to me. She could be saying, the accident happened to me. I heard, and I heard them telling you things, but I couldn't speak out. But I can speak out now because I'm doing it. This is your time, Marilynn. The sands of time are for you, and always, they're always doing it. They're probably even doing it now. Let's see what the next card is. Remember I was on about the shadow and the arrow pointing toward the shadow. Let's see what that is about. Let's see what that card reveals. Remember, we shuffled the cards. You saw the cards being shuffled, so nobody can accuse anybody of anything. It's all, that's why I've done it on camera as well, in case. And this is more for you than me, and it can be your little souvenir later, can't it? And olfactory, in the sense of the sense of smell, like the colour red, and the number 5. Remember, with all these numbers and letters, we can put them all together and make like an anagram later on, as we said earlier, and maybe there's a hidden message there. So it's something, of course, to do with the sense of smell in the shadow. Notice, I'm now looking at this arrow again. The arrow is getting at me, always does. On any card with an arrow on it, it gets at me. It's not just this reading, but other Konxari readings as well. I always tend to think that the spirit is trying to point that way at something, or point towards something. Smell. What smells? Things are heard, or screams in the sort of middle of the night are heard. Smells. What smells? Is that being kept in the shadows about, maybe, if this is to do with what we think it's to do with? Maybe it's to do with, yes, there was a smell when you visited or paid a visit to Marilynn, and Marilynn is saying, yes, there was a smell. I could smell it. I don't know what this was. I would assume, you can assume it's just the smell of waste, human waste or whatever. But it could be something else even. I don't know. But I smelt it as well as you smelt it. But because I was deemed non-compos mentis, I couldn't articulate myself and speak. I heard and I smelt it. I heard it and smelt it. It could be something to do with the accident, I don't know. Maybe that's what it is. Maybe if it's something linked to that. I'm not saying it is that, but it's something linked to that, maybe. And the cryptic, notice the cryptic thing there is linked to that, to that sort of smell, or the sense of smell, something that she gives off a smell. Just like you see a shadow, maybe you smell things and you think, oh, a bit like a story I heard about when there's a ghost in a public house or an old house somewhere, and it was the ghost of an old man, and you always knew he was there because you could smell his pipe. A bit like that, you know, you could smell his pipe. Maybe here, maybe when you can smell Marilynn, it might not be a bad smell. It might be a nice, comforting smell, and you smell her presence in the shadow. As you see her shadow, you smell her. When you see her, you smell her. Just like you feel a presence, I suppose. But that one hasn't come up. I don't know what the next card is. We've got one more card to deal yet, or to turn over. That we can see for Marilynn's reading. But I'm still going back again to this. It might not have been a pleasant smell. And it was kept hush-hush. What's that smell? Where's it coming from? Or why is that smell there? Why has she not been cleaned? Or why? She's heard it. She's heard it, Luke. I've heard it. And an accident happened, kept in the shadows. It was in the past. Sometime in the past, of course. And they're telling you, not so much telling you lies, but they're just not telling you the whole truth, or they're not telling you it as it is. They're being cryptic, they're being mysterious, they're trying to talk in code so that you don't quite understand it. So if you did, you'd be straight away. We'd be on our heels, basically. We'd be clobbered on our heels, and that'd be the end of us. So she's saying that, yes, I heard it. I am aware I smelt it even, maybe you smell it, maybe you hear, maybe you're the one who hears Marilyn. You smell her and you see her shadow, maybe. But the accident, because of the accident and because of the cryptic card and because of the past, in the past something cryptic, and in the past accident being kept cryptic, it's as if I'm getting this, Marilyn, heard it. I'm telling you that I hear them now, even. I even hear them now saying things. And it's kept in the shadows, and that's why that is next to that in the shadows. The shadows is more of a, or the shadow card is more of a shadow that they cast over it in a metaphorical sort of way. And it's always the case with these people. It's always the case with them. They're always at it. They're always doing it. They did it before and they'll do it again. Maybe that's what Marilyn is saying. They've done it before. I heard it. They've done it to me, and I heard them telling you about it, but I couldn't articulate myself about the smell and about whatever. But they're always at it. They're always doing it. This is what I'm getting, as if she's in despair to say, they're always bloody doing it. Let me just pull out another card. Well, why I'm getting this, I don't know. I don't like this at all. I just don't like this at all. Let's just pull another card. It's a final card. Let us see what it is. Desire. What a strange thing. And not so strange though as it may appear, I think. And something as thought has come to my mind. And for me that's not bad, because every time I think, you can smell burning rubber. Let's just see what's going on there. Desire. The desire. What would be desirous of? Maybe it is her desire, maybe Marilyn, yes, Marilyn, are you saying that you are, it is your desire to say that you heard it? It is your desire to speak and put this, for as much as I said I didn't like it, it's like the timing of me pulling that desire card out, as if, there's a lot of red going on there, of course it's just a photograph, isn't it? But, it's, as if it's not what your, a bit like it's not what your will, it's not my will, but your will be done. That sort of thing, like when Jesus said on the sort of, just remove this cup from me, not your will. It's not my will, but it's your will be done. And it's as if, for as much as I don't like it, as much as I'm just saying that I don't like it, she's saying, but I desire it, it's my will. I desire it. I desire to speak. Because this is your time, remember, Marilyn, yes, we're giving you the floor, and I apologise to you for that, if this is what you desire, but the desire, of course, could be there in the sense that somebody had an ardent desire to keep things in the shadows. To protect themselves, as we may assume. That she's saying, I heard it. but the arrow pointing toward the smell, as if the olfactory thing, the sense of smell, that yes, what you smelt was there, and if it was that if it was either the waste that she hadn't been cleaned properly and it was mentioned and what's going on here, or if it was just some smell of some sort of chemical that they didn't know what it was. But either way, they were keeping it in the dark, maybe by you assuming and saying and asking the questions of is it this, is it that, when it wasn't. They could have sort of come to some sort of like agreement that it was when it wasn't, or give you the impression as though it was and not be clear about it, because that way then you would be the one who I suppose would be accused of assuming wrong, and they could then throw it at you instead. And this is what Marilynn may be saying, is that my desire is to speak, in the sense my desire is to say that I heard it, the accident happened, and there is a desire in some way, a wanting, or somebody is wanting to keep it in the shadows for a reason, is wanting the past to be, the desire that Marilynn's desire to bring the past. Notice how the desire in the past and what she heard in the past. And it's not so much about the accident that may have happened to her or that she heard happen next door or whatever, but it's more to do with just the fact of what she wants. She has a desire to put over the fact that she heard it. She wants, okay Marilynn, you're saying it now, that she wants to say that I heard it. I hear what they're saying now. I heard what they said then, what they told you, how they tried to fob you off, thinking I was non-compos mentis and I couldn't speak, and anything I said, oh well, it's all right, she's just a bit doolally and she doesn't know what she's saying. But really she was trying to say. It may not have come out right, but now she's saying, I heard it. I heard it, and I smelt. I smell it as well as you, because of course. But it's kept in the shadows. The arrow of the shadows. The idea of the smell is being kept in the shadows. And I want to pull out some cards. These mediumship cards that Marilynn has helped to shuffle for us, and I'll just place them there, and I'm going to place so I'll just lay them here maybe, just so you can just about see them there. We'll see what messages come up. So Marilynn, this is now the floor is still yours, remember. You can now pass on a message, and let's just turn over this card. We'll turn it over just over the centre here, where Marilynn's energy is, I'm sure, the strongest at the moment. And we have a card with the message, we are so connected. We are so connected. I don't know if you can see that there. And I get the feeling as though Marilynn is saying, yes, we are so connected. We are connected, and even now, as I speak through the Konxari, through the necromancy that is taking place right now, you know that we're connected. This is me, and I am here. And please, I have a desire for you to listen. Listen now, Luke. I have a desire for you to listen, because I heard in the sense as well. It just about doubles up, that one, doesn't it? I heard what went on. I heard what they told you then, and I still hear what they tell you now. And maybe the bump in the night may be just me to say, do you hear me? They kept it in the shadows. It was that the things they tell you is cryptic about the past. but nevertheless, not only do they keep it in the shadows from a metaphorical point of view, maybe those shadows, you see me there as well. You see a shadow person or a shadowy thing cast, and maybe it's just me, who knows. I don't know if it is, well, not maybe, but it either is or it isn't. But she's saying we are so connected, right now even, during this setting. Let's, and of course always maybe, always, notice how we've dealt the card and the always card is there. It's just strange that, isn't it? You could have a bit of a smile. I'm sure that she's gotten onto it before I did. The next card, as you can see, that's got a message on it. Just says, I am with the rest of the family. So whatever's gone on, whatever's happened, be it good or ill, we are so connected. I am with the rest of the family now. And that's, I suppose, what's more important than anything, really. That she's with people that she loves, isn't she? And people who love her as well. That helps. Let's now see what this other card does here. Just rotate it slowly there. And another message. We won't pull too many out, but we'll just pull out enough to when we feel it's enough. Another message just saying, I am standing right next to you. I get a feeling as though maybe, yes, okay. We are so connected. And with the rest of the family, I'm standing right next to you now. Not just in this setting, but as you watch this setting, maybe I'm here. I'm standing right next to you. Look in the shadows. Of course, as we've assumed, the shadows can be a metaphorical thing, that things or situations and things about them are being kept in the shadows to hide them, and that's another thing. Maybe that could be the double meaning. Let us now, I'll just feel one more card coming, because yes, we are so connected, and yes, I'm with the rest of the family, and yes, and this other card is, let's just pull this one out. She's standing right next to you, but of course, she's also saying, you have nothing to feel guilty about. So just reading those briefly in order as they came out, maybe there is a sort of message there, in the sense that she's just first said, we are so connected. I am with the rest of the family now. As you say, I'm with the rest of the family. I'm standing right next to you. I get a feeling that when she says I'm standing right next to you, she's also standing, she's with you in the sense supporting you as well. And I get that sort of feel from it. But I'm standing right next to you, and you have nothing to feel guilty about. So if ever you are blamed for whatever's happened, do not take the blame or even the responsibility, because it was not your fault. Well, why didn't I listen to my own inner voice when I suspected this, and why didn't I speak sooner, or whatever. We can all say, well, why didn't I tell you, why didn't I even tell you I loved you before you went, or whatever. But she's saying, you have nothing to feel guilty about. This is not your fault. And with that, I think really, Marilynn, I think you have had the floor, haven't you, and said your piece. And now I think, as the sands of time have now elapsed for this setting, as you would say, I think now that, not that the timer that we are using is something that we're doing it against the clock or anything. I just have the timer there, Marilynn, because we then know that I know that an hour's passed since we started, that's all. Mainly for other technical reasons as well. So with that, Marilynn, I'm sure that you've enjoyed this time. I'm just feeling a calling as though to pull another card. Why? I don't know. I've just heard a voice say, pull another card. It could be me being nosy, and it could be a voice saying, pull another card. What's that other card that you want to... Oh, there, Marilyn, that's nice, isn't it? She's just saying, remember me by the happy memories we created. And you've got nothing to feel guilty about. It's not your fault, don't worry about it. Just remember me by the happy memories that we created. I suppose it could be implying the bad memories that were created elsewhere are not worth it, but nevertheless, remember me by the happy memories that we created. Those other memories that have been created, then yes, I'm here to say, although I've given you this message, although my desire is to say I heard it, I hear them, I heard them, and I hear them still, and I always hear them, and they're always at it, and things of that nature. Nevertheless, remember me by the happy memories we created before the accident, before things went wrong, before my calling to the summer lands was naive, I suppose. With that, I think, Marilyn, we thank you for your presence. It's been very, very nice to make an acquaintance. It's been very pleased to meet you, and although, yes, your message seems to be a bit on the serious side, I suppose, nevertheless, you've had the floor. So, as we say at the end of every sitting, it's merry did we meet, Marilyn. Merry do we part. And Marilyn, may we meet, merry may we meet again. Merry did we meet, merry do we part, and merry may we meet again. Blessed be to Marilyn and all absent friends. Peace may you blessed be.